welcome to today's episode. I'm Andrew Soteropoulos.
And I'm Terry Magalakis. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, on CHP TV. Make sure to like, subscribe, and also comment on our videos. Your support does really help us to, with our
journey ahead. And
That's
in
it.
saying that, I want to do a quick recap of last week's episode. If you have watched it, tune in for today's episode. But if you haven't, make sure to go back, watch it,
Yes.
and then come back and watch this so
Yes.
you don't miss any information.
And to recap with what we have spoken about in the previous TV show, especially with CHP, we spoke about fact or truth, the main difference, also the advantages of understanding the fact and truth, but also you judging it from your own perceptions, and also understanding the misconceptions that fact or truth have upon you. And
in saying that, what we were talking about, what we meant by that is a certain situation in your life, whether you're depressed, low self-esteem, anxiety, can't get that job, don't have the ideal partner, relationship, whatever the case may be that you're suffering at the moment, it's not necessarily truth, not necessarily fact. It's something that you can change, and you can create your own destiny from.
Especially knowing that whether you're in box with someone's expectations and also the truth of you have the ability to change it and make the truth that will set you free forever and ever.
It was an important episode.
It was a very important episode, and like today's episode, which is our final episode for this new series that we have done, and we wanted to make it a good one. So nevertheless, let's get started on today's show, and let's start with the topic of what is the difference between living and existing. And this is something that I think it will appeal to you guys, especially knowing that this is the last episode, but I think understanding, again, what is the difference between living and existing, so to make you more aware of whether you are living or whether you are just plainly existing. And basically the first topic we want to talk about is what is living and what is existing. And what I want to talk about especially is the definitions, of course. And they always said that, living is doing reckless things. This may seem a bit, how to say this, a bit of left field, but it's saying that living is doing reckless things. It's doing things you've always wanted to do, but couldn't be able to do it, whether it was the past, whether it's now, or whether you saw yourself, wanting to do something in the future, but you didn't have the audacity or the confidence to do it. And basically, all it is, it's fulfilling your dreams and chasing them and doing whatever it takes to catch them. And especially that is knowing that what is living depicting, but also existing on the other hand is merely breathing and doing our daily chores. And what I want to talk about especially with this, and be a very, very short topic, is to understand living and existing is that when I mean by daily chores is that your existence itself is sometimes it could be run via a computer, knowing that our brain has so many units and so many atoms, especially we've got so many bits of information coming in and out of ourselves, is that the daily chores part is basically knowing that our mind is automated and we run unconsciously through day to day.
It's on autopilot.
It's on autopilot majority of the time. And this is what it means when it comes to existing. With living, it's basically you taking conscious, you're raising your level of conscious awareness, but also taking that conscious action, especially moving away from existing to merely existing to always living your life, especially your dreams, and really accomplishing them, really fulfilling with where you want to be. And look, I want to actually bring it to you as well. And I know you are looking at a couple things up.
I was trying to look. There's a specific part of the brain or pilot in the mind.
I think you wrote it last time for the other episode, the other show that we did.
So
left and right hemisphere.
So the left and right hemisphere, but new study shows humans are on autopilot nearly half the time. There it is. Thanks for that. So pretty much the right and left. So the right and left hemisphere. So if you haven't watched Creativity versus Insanity, I go by it slow. I go
and watch it, rewatch
go
it.
Watch it. I did briefly talk about autopilot. I didn't really talk about it much, but here, a new study by Daniel Gilbert, who wrote a great book called Stumbling on Happiness, and Matthew Killsworth confirms something we've all suspected. Most of us are mentally checked out a good portion of the time. It turns out that just under half the time, 46.9% to be exact, people are doing what's called mind wandering. They are not focused on the outside world or the task at hand. They are looking into their own thoughts. Unfortunately, the study of just under 2,500 people proposes most of this activity doesn't make us feel happy. So in saying that, Majority of the time.
Well, there you go. The mind-wandering part, you know exactly that it is the existence, especially in that. Because again, when you just merely exist, you get up and you're on autopilot straight away. Your mind wanders to certain things where you could be thinking past thoughts, present thoughts, also where you want to be in the future. But sometimes you go day by day, just not living. You're just
get lost in tasks,
rolling with the
duties,
punches. Yes.
and you are. You're rolling with the punches. You're just going day by day.
You're allowing yourself to get beat up, and on a mental front. And this shows through physicality, physiology, and all that sort of stuff.
Well, the way your demeanor is, whether you get up and fight for another day, certain things like that, like being motivated for the next day, something I think we need to all have. This is just a personal opinion, is the fact that we live one life, and the fact that you want to live the next day. You do want to get up the next day and say, you know what, I know my life is lack of a better word, shit at the moment, and it's not going the way I wanted. The business isn't doing well, or whatever the case.
Relationship's not going well. My friends are,
whatever it is,
whatever it may be. Yeah.
And it's very important to know that and be aware of it and what you're talking about there. Living and existing the past, the present, and the future.
Well, you look at personnel who have achieved their dream, and you understand that consciously they've made a decision for themselves to change all that and not just merely exist, but also to live their life to the way they want it to be. And knowing that if their life is going absolutely, for a lack of a better word, shit, right, that's when it's your turn to take control of your own life and to start coming from an area where you start suddenly becoming conscious. On how everything's moving. That I've got to do my daily chores, but you can do it in a specific way that will show your life has more it's more meaningful. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it goes hand in hand with, I think, finding your purpose, also, and finding your understanding of the world and your what part you belong in. Like especially at work or whatever the case may be, and understanding who you are as a person, and that's very important. And I think people get lost in tasks and duties because they don't know what their meaning. They haven't described a meaning to life for themselves.
Yeah. So now this brings us to the next topic. I know that we've written a lot of information now from the first one, but this is actually the next one. How do I know whether you're living in existence? It's something that people do really get confused on. But I wanted to bring up, you wrote something, especially live on the edge, know your purpose, but also you got to love your life or live the life that you want. So how do we know when those things come into effect? How do we know that I'm living by purpose. I'm living my life. How do we know this? And we're not merely
existing. The first thing is understanding. There's a powerful book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, and that really changed my perspective on life itself. And when we're doing things like this, these videos and when we coach people, it comes from a place of we've been through this before, and we understand how it feels to be in certain situations. 100%. So whatever the case may be, we understand it. And in saying that, and we accepting the situation for what it is, understanding the reasoning behind it, but you need to be consciously aware of that moment. You need to be aware.
You need to be aware of that, consciously aware of it, but also
living in that moment.
Take that. And use it in the most effective way to live your life, especially moving forward.
That's
right. And what you said before, live on the edge. Well, what does it mean by live on the edge? Okay, because so people get razor's edge. What does it exactly mean, especially on this topic?
When we say live on the edge, it was actually a book that I read called The Way of the Superior Man. By any means, please do read that book. It is not a sexist book. It's just for men, a spiritual book for men. And there's certain parts, like I said in the previous episode, you pick and choose what you believe, what's truth and what's fact. And the writer says that a man's purpose needs to be first in his life, but man in general, and how I take it into this example, you need to live your life on the edge of your boundary condition. So just after your comfort zone, not so much into the world of unknown, but just on the brink of your comfort zone, and you are that middle band where you're constantly on the edge, so you're constantly pushing yourself to do better. Not so much going into the world of the unknown, and you're in this world of not knowing where you are and everything.
Well, the unknown, I think, with the razor's edge, I think it's not razor's edge then the unknown. I think it's the unknown then the razor's edge. Because a lot of people get very fearful of when it's not going their way or they're not very familiar with it, and that's perfectly fine. But when you start living, you start going through it, that's when you're on the razor's edge, and you start having that feeling of that, as that quote says, don't strive to climb to the top of the mountain to let people see you. Strive to climb to the mountain so you can see everyone else.
Well, it's also, I think, in saying that, when I saw that quote, when I read that quote, for me, it was, I think once you set something and then you achieve it, it makes it easier for everyone else to achieve, because everybody else then looks at you and goes, you know what? If you be a role model enough, and that's where I was leading with living on the edge, because you start to be an example of that thing. So if you're that person that takes risks, good risks, not bad risks, financial risks and certain things that...
Calculated risks.
Difference
between risk and calculated risk.
Right? Yes. And saying, you know what? I have a fear of public speaking. Next week, I'm going to book myself into somewhere where I have to do that.
Exactly.
That's living on your edge. You need to do what you fear most. That's what you... Read a book by, I think it's Suzanne Jeffries, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Yes.
And that's a fantastic read. And I really enjoyed it, because it was like certain fears that I had at that moment. I'm like, bang, all right, I need to go and do that thing that I'm fearful of.
And then that's when you start knowing and start understanding on when you stop merely existing and you start living, is when you start taking action on the things that you are very fearful of. But what I also wrote here is that, to sum up with this certain topic, is living implies meaning. So you're creating meaning for yourself via living. The purpose, like you said, is that you create the fulfilled purpose that you want to succeed in, and there's your meaning behind it that you start living. But also, existing is mechanical. It's robotical. Your brain knows automatically how you're going to do it, when are you going to do it, where you're going to do it, and it's all automated, and it knows specifically. So all things that live exist.
Yep.
That's something that I want you to guys understand. Everything that lives exists. So what I mean by that is that living and existing does, again, there is a difference, but also they do come together. Because once you start living, you start existing in a proper manner, in a more of a positive manner towards humanity, towards everyone else. But all things that exist may or may not be living, right? So say, for instance, that, when you look at all things that exist may or may not be living, right? You may see this person walking across the street. Okay, that person's living. But really, is that person really living, or is that just merely existing? I could be living on the outside, but am I really living on the inside? Or am I just existing?
Versus the external.
Exactly right. So taken scientifically, again, this is something that's very, very deep. Living is biological. Existing is physical.
Yes.
So elaborate, especially with the biological and physical, because I know this is especially your favorite part, especially understanding, your different parts of the brain and stuff. So again, living is biological, existing is physical.
Well, for me, it's not even for the scientific purpose.
Yeah.
It is the mythological. It's the philosophical purpose of understanding that everything is in here.
Yes.
The perspective of life is in here. The projection of life is this. This is clay. This is materialistic. It's not real, right? What is real is everything inside. Your heart is beating. Your organs are moving. Your brain is... Everything is happening with inside you. The only thing that is happening that is really on the outside of the world is what people see here, the mask, the facade, whatever it is. So for me, to elaborate, living is biological. Everything is connected into one.
That's it.
And understanding that. And why I wanted to say that, and thank you for asking that question, is when we go back to topic one, the past, the present, and the future, it's learning to cut ties with the past.
Yes, of course.
Or else you're not going to move forward. I give this example a lot when I talk, and I say, so there was this gentleman, and he's running for this train. The train's about to come, and he wants to jump on this train, right? And what happens is he's running, he starts dropping his bag, he goes back, picks it up, right, drops another bag. He was carrying another bag, he was carrying 3 bags, and he's like, oh no, he's running. He finally misses, he just completely misses the train. He just misses it. And the example I use that is, life is going at 100 miles per hour. You either leave your baggage behind and jump on.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And you gotta understand that when I say about that person crossing the street, you gotta understand that existing is someone that's carrying a lot of negative baggages or a lot of emotional baggages.
That is correct. Yeah.
So the main thing is, how do we start living?
How do we do it?
How do we live life and just not merely exist?
You're a human being, not a human doing.
Yes, I love that saying. Who's
No idea. Everyone says it. I have no idea who started that gangster stuff.
But again, for this is the last topic, how to live your life and not just merely exist. And what I have written down is certain things that you can go by, especially from other things I've read in books, interviews, other podcasts, as well as other motivational speakers, a lot of different personnel, and they've come up with a certain range of how to start living. And like I said, it's about raising your level of awareness. You know, come from a place of consciousness, not unconsciousness. You know, Oscar Wilde once said, "To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist. That is all."
Yeah, because we just walk around doing things.
We're not
go to work.
Yes.
We go home. We watch the same TV show, whatever it is we do, and repeat. And
so
we're on constant
eat,
repeat.
Sleep. You know, eat,
Groundhog
sleep, repeat.
Day, and that's why people miss the meaning behind of Groundhog Day and movies that repeat that day over and over again.
Yes.
And when you look at it, there's a bigger meaning behind it, and you see it. It's replaying the mistakes that we've done and trying to get it right.
Yes.
You know, I think people miss the purpose behind it. Yeah.
And look. So basically, with what I came up with is 6 points for you guys to really take on board and start using it for yourself. Living is being able to find joy and humor in your surroundings. Existing is going through the day with barely a smile.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
So living.
What do you mean specifically by that?
So living is being able to find joy and humor in your surroundings. So by looking at certain circumstances, here's a great example. For the past 2 months, my parents have gone away overseas, you know, and enjoying themselves holidays, and I've been, you know, responsible for maintaining the house, you know, cleaning, cooking, washing, all that sort of stuff. This is the final week. They're coming home, and I decided to lock myself outside of the house for 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. Now, I said to myself, no, like my girlfriend said, no, you know, don't lock yourself out. I'm like, no, I'll be fine. And
don't lock yourself out. What did your mind do? Lock yourself out.
Yeah. So unconsciously, I got it from the table, picked up my keys without realizing there was no keys on the key itself. It's just the car key. And as I drove to the shops and picked up a couple of things, came back, there was no key. The reason I'm saying about the whole find joy and humor is because I laughed at myself and how stupid I could have been. But I can see within myself, you know, mentally, of the unconscious mind and conscious mind arguing with each other, going, "What the F?"
You did that once at my house.
What the F is happening?
You did that once when
what?
When
oh god, no.
It was when you slipped. Like you just started laughing.
I started laughing.
You just and you got up and we were both in tears because then I did the exact same thing. I'm like, are you serious? We just went through that and we're just you know.
And so basically, like I said, and we smiled about it. But the thing is, joy and humor. Whether it's good or bad. Like I said, whether it's negative or positive, you've got to find joy and humor in all those things.
You do. Also, you miss out on life if you don't get the good kicks. Like I've had, a lot of people don't know, I sometimes live stream gaming videos because it's a hobby of mine, it's a passion of mine. And I have a mate of mine that I talk to, and I've had such good moments with this person, and we were on the call, and I was live streaming last night, and something happened, and the chat in the stream went crazy, like, oh no, it's happening again, the stream's back, and I just went crazy, and it's those mistakes, those things that you do that's so laughable and enjoyable.
You just find the joy.
Because those are the moments, and it's funny that they'll take
you away.
Stupid moments are the ones that you remember.
Exactly right. Remember that time I fell over? Remember that time I locked myself in the house?
Yeah.
Oh, that was funny, you know. All that sort of stuff. So, but like I said, the second one is... So, like I said, living is being able to find joy and humor in surroundings. The second one is living is working with passion and enthusiasm. Existing is turning up every day and collecting the paycheck. Now, we know this from 9 to 5.
Give an example.
Yeah, so example is like I said, 9 to 5. Exactly, it's the whole thing of collecting paycheck. It's working 9 to 5. It's all routine. You know how the next day is going to be. How you know the next week, the next month, next year is going to be.
It's pretty mundane.
That's mundane. That's mundane. And then people say,
boring, I think.
Then people have the audacity to say, if you're a free thinker, you go to the forest and meditate. You're crazy. But I live my life, in traffic 9 to 5. How is that? How
I do.
Yeah.
Oh god!
No, but the thing is though, but there's people out there who actually don't mind the 9 to 5. They see the joy in it. You know what I'm saying? But again, living is working with passion and enthusiasm, and passion and enthusiasm
depends on your job too. It really does.
It really does.
If you do have a really good career with good people and a great boss and all that,
and great career outcomes and incentives,
and great outcomes incentives. Don't be stupid not to.
Yeah. So again, living is working with passion and enthusiasm, and being enthusiastic about a lot of things. Send passion out there to everyone.
Projects,
all that sort of stuff.
Things on the
side projects,
hobbies,
friends, family. Send passion, send love to everything. That's when you start living
adventurous in life.
In life. Yeah.
Don't just go for a picnic.
Yeah, that's very true. And this comes to the third one. Living is having a clear, meaningful goals to work towards, obviously, and existing is wandering aimlessly through life. What did Tony Robbins say? He goes, "A man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder." It's kind of true and corny, but guess what? You end up both on the rocks. Yeah. And it's so very true. So again, having a clear, meaningful goal.
I think you do. I think and having those little projects on the
80,000 thoughts each and every day we think, guys. I'm sure that you can think of just one thought, right, and have focus on it and have the conscious awareness. Go, you know what? I'm going to focus on this, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you start living because you're not bombarded by distractions.
Well, yeah, because your mind, like we say, you're bombarded by so many bits of information. Your brain can't handle it. And I wonder why you're in constant stress and you can't find a work-life balance, because all you're thinking about is work. Or you come home and you think about, I used to do this a lot, and sometimes I do. It's like, I don't want tomorrow, you know. And that's why when I started getting into meditating and trying to find the moment and trying to find the present and trying to find doing what I can now, you know, and living for today, living for the moment, living for each second, and appreciating. And I think to say what you're saying, you know, not to say what you're saying, but I think when you start become grateful of things that you have, you know, lacking versus packing. If you haven't watched,
go back and watch
a few episodes of
that episode.
Don't compare yourself, but compare yourself. Look at what you do have, and really, really feel what you do have.
Exactly. And this is something that the next one as well, this is something that really relates to us, is living is investing in others, helping to develop them into their full potential. Existing is being a self-absorbed and suspicious person of others' motives.
Yeah.
So again, we are investing our time into you guys to help you reach your full potential. We are living right now. We are so joyful and we are so enthusiastic and passionate about what we're doing. We're very happy with what we're doing.
And I'm very tired.
Yes, but again, passion and love overthrows the pain.
It does. It just does. And I said this at my engagement.
Yeah.
And I said a man's purpose in regards
as a speech when you say
in regards to his woman, I do feel that it's a man's purpose to help find his woman become a queen and find her purpose and reach her potential. And I think it's our duty, it's our job as educated men. And my father said this at his 50th birthday. He said, a man is not capable unless he is educated.
Yeah.
And not educated in books, but I mean
educated in other areas, not just by reading books, guys. Educated in other
things, man that is aware, a man, and my dad was big on that and understanding of being a man and responsible, even though he wasn't that responsible, but it stuck by me. And you're absolutely right. I think once you become aware and you have that guy and you focus on others and you bring value to the table, I think
that's it. Yeah.
The world is your oyster.
Yes, especially. And look, the next two is basically living is leaving yourself vulnerable to love with all its highs and lows, but existing is putting a wall around your heart that no one can break through. This is something that's very, very hard for a lot of people, single people, knowing that they have been hurt. So a lot of people have been hurt in the past, whether it's family or friends.
Live with an open heart.
Live with an open heart. Knowing that your heart is always endless. Your heart is always forgiving. Yeah. If you're sort of person that, you know, don't be controlling of your forgiveness. Like they always say in the Bible, forgive 10 times over.
Yeah.
Right. With this is that leaving yourself vulnerable to love, leaving yourself with that open love and heart to anyone else, because who knows, maybe the next person you speak to probably needs that. And don't hold, like I said, don't hold the past. Drop the baggages of of being when you were hurt, especially if it was a past lover or a partner, whoever it may be. You know, with all the highs and lows, have that heart, have that love, because that's where the passion and enthusiasm comes through. And the final one to sum things up as well.
I really like that one.
Yeah. And the next one is pretty much, and the final one is living is understanding that we only get one shot at life. So we had better make the most of it. Existing, however, procrastinates, hesitates, squanders the opportunity to make a difference.
Say that again.
So, which one, the last bit or the whole thing?
So
living is understanding that we only get one shot at life, so we had better make the most of it. Existing procrastinates, hesitates, and squanders the opportunity to make a difference. So isn't this funny that they even saying they know that the topic of living sees that you've only got one shot at life. Make the most of it, guys. Because they said the average person starts at work at the age of 18, 19 and gets retired at 67. You work between those two. So from the 0 to 18, you're developed, and from 67 all the way to your death, you're retired. And that's it, guys. It's very scary. And the thing is, that working life, it's entirely your choice on how you want to live your life. But what it's saying is...
you're on your deathbed. Yes. Picture this, you're on your deathbed.
And to finish off, guys,
65 minus 18 is 43.
43 years.
It's 43. 43
Hang
years.
on. Let me get a calculator out. Hold on.
I suck at maths.
So let's get the calculator, guys. So what is it? 60. So what's the retirement age here?
Say it's 65.
Okay, minus 18?
Yeah, 43.
47. So 47 years.
47 years is a working life.
Working life.
So say you live to 80, over half your life. So the life expectancy is 80.
I think it's dropped now, but I think it is.
Say it's 80.
Say
it was 80. We were one of the highest life expectancy.
Yeah.
78 to 80. So more than 50% of your life is working.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that you look. All of us has to work, guys. I understand that. But the fact
Warren
is that
Buffett still does to this day.
Oh my god, he's still what the sort of money he gets, like the guy still lives in his original house back from the 50s. He hasn't moved,
and he pays himself an income of $100,000 a year when he's making $30 billion a year.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, guys, is that living is understanding that we only get one shot of life, so we had better make the most of it. Guys, if you know that you work so tirelessly, it's one of those things that start getting yourself out there, create more opportunities for yourself, start doing.
It's okay to work all those years, but more hobbies, get yourself involved with. If you like sports, ventures.
Look, I want you to finish off on this. This is our last episode for the series, and I know you've written something down there, especially for everyone to sort of
So it's when we draw up what we're going to talk about, the themes, the topics. One thing that we live by, one thing that I live by is full steam ahead and never hold back.
Yes.
I live by that. And I've got a sticky note. That's what they're called, sticky notes. Yes. And I've got it on my sun visor. So every time I flip it up, full steam ahead, I put it back or whatever it is, right? And the number one thing to understand when to live the life that you want, and I think we don't owe life because life is given to us. We need to raise our standards. Yeah. And when you start raising your standards, I think I'll give you a few steps. First thing is to raise your standards, but just before the first step is changing your environment. Right? Well, sorry, it's just after that. So once you raise your standards, your environment changes. Because what happens is once you change one aspect in your life, everything else changes automatically. It just does. And that's why you feel different. And then people, I want to share because I'm different and I'm not the same as I used to be. Look at me now. Don't do that. What you need to do is absorb it and be in that present moment and say, okay, I'm here right now in this moment. I've changed. I've become a different person. I've done what I've done. It's time to move to the next thing. The third thing that I would say is something that my mentor talked to me about. And he said, once you've done something, always remind yourself to move on to the next thing if something doesn't work.
Don't become complacent. Don't become stagnant. Because
when you start. But if it doesn't work out, move on from it. And the thing is, because you're constantly going. Now, I'm not saying to you guys to work the midnight oil. We're not saying to you as well, because they always say that water, food, and sleep is the main things that we really need. So again, get those things into your system, but also to keep yourself active, to keep yourself going. Like I said, raise your standards. And what was that thing you said? Don't live in the rearview mirror of life. And it's something that's always said. You never look in the rearview.
And why is that?
All the time.
Why is that?
Because you constantly living in the past. You're constantly behind bars. That's what I feel like. I know I've said behind bars and not jail, but you constantly are behind the 8 ball. You miss out on life. You miss out on laughs. You miss out on someone slipping and falling out. You miss out on things that are so mundane to others, but you miss out on life, and existing isn't as important as living and enjoying life. Because it happened to me. I was on a call while playing a video game, right? Not that as a problem, right? And I'm saying to my mate's like, oh, you're going to do this, this, and this. I'm like, man, I'm 27 next year. And it hit me. I'm getting married.
I'm 28 next year. Stop it.
Oh, fuck.
I'm 28 next year, guys.
27 years of age. That's not old, but it's like, I honestly thought I was 15 2 weeks ago. And that's when it made me realize, dude, how long have I been living at the same age for? not about the gaming, but about lots of other things, and putting in effort and taking responsibility and being a man and being helpful, whatever the case may be, right? You know, and people will always put expectations to you, and you know, letting closing off this segment is and this episode is be thankful for what has happened in life, understand it, read it,
but raise your standard to
the next level. And to do that, you need to be present and look towards the future. If you don't know what you want in the next 100 years, you don't know what you want in the 20 years, in 80, 60, 40, 20, and in 10, and in 5 years, there's no way you're ever going to get ahead in life. Like Zig Ziglar says, people plan a holiday better than they plan their life. And the fact that that is truth, and that is a fact, that has to be a fact, because most people live on goddamn autopilot, and success leaves clues, guys. So make sure to follow the people that are doing it right. Don't follow the people that you think are going to get you results. They're not.
Yeah. And the thing is, if one thing, you know, as well, what you were saying, especially knowing that what Zig Ziglar said, we have a better way of planning for a holiday rather than our life. And one thing that, you know, to end up on this video, guys, is, you know, start living now, because every breath you take is a gift. You've got to understand that when you were put here, knowing that I'm a big believer that you yourself has put yourself here on this earth, and you have here you have a deeper meaning, deeper purpose within your life. So make the most of it, because I'm sure no one else will do it for you. You're
find that inner greatness. Find that gift that you have to give to this world, in order to move on to the next one, because you don't realize it. And you know what the funny part is? This video might not ever get 1 million views, but yet the message within it is what people will miss out. And I don't want that. And I want people to understand that you have a purpose on this earth, so does everybody else. And the fact that we can equally be human beings, and we can move forward into the next generation, right? Because we as people forget the meaning of life, because we all need one meaning, but it's all up to us what that meaning is.
Exactly.
You know, whether it is to help people for the rest of your life and be a volunteer and do all go do it. Leave that 9 to 5 and go do what it is that you want to do. I'm not advising you for to do that, but if it is what you're going to find purpose,
that's it.
And do it, man.
And to finish up, guys, like what Oscar Wilde said, you know, to live is the rarest thing. So the question I want to leave to you guys is, do you want to become a very rare item to a lot of other people, or do you want to become the same item on the shelf?
Yeah, I don't look this good to just be a.
But we're all. But the thing is, if we know within ourselves that we are very rare, and we are.
There's only going to be one of us. Even if you have a twin, that person's not you.
No, you are you, and that's it.
Red pill? Is it red pill or blue pill?
Red pill or blue pill? No, hang on. Red pill. Oh god, now I'm trying to remember what he goes. The story ends. He goes, you believe whatever you want to believe. He goes, you take the other pill. He goes, you stay in Wonderland, and I'll show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. And on that note, guys. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much for these 8 episodes until we bring the new season out.
Yes, thank you so much. Again,
we're going to make sure to take it to the next level, because these. I've had fun. I've had a lot of fun, man.
It's been good. It's been good, man. Especially I know the new location, but again, we are changing locations next year because you are moving into your new house. Right? So we have our own little office. We'll have a better setup. Well, this is actually a great setup that we've done here, but we'll have a better setup than this. But again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to us and guys, leave comments, because again, your help is is definitely going to benefit us. But until next time, guys, see you later.
Don't go changing. Hey guys, so you've probably just watched the episode. Now, Terry and I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone. We really appreciate the time and effort you've put into this, and I hope you guys enjoy the time and effort that we've put into this.
Yes, we do. And look, thank you so much, guys, for really watching us, and I hope it does help you any which way with anything, relationships, money, career, or even hobbies. I hope that with what we've done for the 8 past shows for this series has really been for you guys. And look, we're here to help you with any way we can. And just to let you know as well, we are launching next year. We are launching everything. So everything is that close to be done with our packages and with
programs,
everything be automated.
seminars, workshops, the whole lot, the whole shebang. My coaching program will be coming out soon.
My coaching
Terry's
programs.
book.
Terry's my second book will be coming out, especially with the package and the workbook itself. So again, everything's coming together. So again, guys, look, thank you so much for everything. Yeah, very good season. All right, and thank you so much
and
again.
welcome to CHP.
Thank you so much.
Peace.
Peace.